All right, signing the dotted line. President Trump signing into law new sanctions on Russia, North Korea, and Iran, despite having some reservations. The president writing in a statement, quote, "The bill remains seriously flawed, particularly because it encroaches on the executive branch's authority to negotiate. Yet, despite its problems, I am signing this bill for the sake of national unity." Here now is David Sears, retired Navy SEAL. So he agreed with the substance of the sanctions, that they make sense in terms of punishment, and commented about the idea that it did seem like a gotcha. You know, here's a bill that makes sense, but we're going to tack something onto it that, you know, sticks it to you. Sort of, to me, it seemed like hoping he wouldn't sign it because of that part, and then, you know, it would be a whole trap. Am I reading too much into it?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that you're right. You're seeing this, as the lawmakers did, through the lenses of campaigns and politics, vice doing things to Russia or to try and change Russia's behavior. So I think the bill was called the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions. It probably could have been called Countering America's Executive Branch Through Sanctions.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it seems like when you take this kind of negotiation to Congress, there's more politics in it than long-term strategic thinking. But I want to ask you about the show of force from the United States. The U.S. successfully testing an unarmed intercontinental ballistic missile today. This as it ramps up defense tactics against North Korea. But China getting in there and also flexing its muscles with a series of its own missile tests. David, talk to me about what China did there in response. Was that, I mean, because we talk about these missile tests in terms of whether they're defensive. I mean, that's what Rex Tillerson likes to say about the tests we were doing versus offensive, as we seem to have seen from North Korea. What about China? What was their move?
I think that they're also demonstrating their capability. They're left with no choice but to say, hey, here you go. We also have this capability to launch missiles as well. So everybody's just doing the show of force piece right now. It doesn't amount to anything. It's not going to change the behavior of North Korea at all. So a test of an anti-ballistic missile system that shows the ability, or a layered defensive measure that can take out ballistic missiles launched at us, that would show some force that hasn't been seen before.
Why does it seem like we're the only ones who are concerned about this problem? I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone else is taking the problem of a nuclearized North Korea with someone who seems to be totally irrational and not playing by any rules whatsoever at the helm. We're the only ones who are worried.
No, you're absolutely right. I think primarily because we are worried, it allows other people to take a back seat. It's sort of the same idea with NATO in Europe and the Russian aggression there. So Europe's able to take for years a back seat to the U.S., relying that the U.S. will protect us when necessary. So you're absolutely right. The same thing in Far East Asia is the U.S. will protect us if necessary. Let them worry about it. So we become the front voice for everything, while the rest are able to take a back seat and say things behind the backs or in diplomatic channels easier.
But it seems like the only way to stop this from being a military situation is if China gets involved, and they're not interested in stopping North Korea. So does everyone realize that it seems like this is coming to an inevitable and not great conclusion?
You're absolutely right. China is the only one that is capable of putting enough pressure to bear on North Korea to get them to abstain from these activities, from pursuing nuclear weapons and these missiles. We have to find what is incentivizing China. Right now, China sees us, the United States, and our alliance with South Korea as a greater threat, the anti-ballistic missile system, the THAAD system that's in there, as a greater threat to China than they see as North Korea's pursuit of missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and nuclear weapons, as well as bio and chem weapons. We are the greater threat, the U.S. and South Korea. China wants to see never a unified Korea with U.S. troops there that are able to be right up to the river, butting up to China.
David Sears, thank you.